Alright, so here I am. I'm doing my major predictions, the Copenhagen major predictions. And this time I'm actually doing it sort of on time, not the day of the event starting. Actually 2 days ahead of time this time. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? But anyways, we'll get things started. Round one, Karmine versus Limitless. Limitless, the team from SSA, of course. Unfortunately, considering they're a relatively new region, and the good practice that they get, or the most effective practice that they get, is at majors, not so much regionally. Though now with the new rulings, a little bit more advantageous for them playing their qualifiers or regionals. But it won't be enough. That wouldn't have filled the gap enough to be competitive against teams like Karmine. So a 3-0 for me there. Elevate the team from APAC. APAC, obviously, making a lot of progress last season, considering they went 2-3 in the wild card, World's wild card, beating G1 along the way. So they beat an EU team, a main region team. That being said, they are losing. The region is losing Kami, so that is I would say, a little bit of a negative for them. Elevate, I don't really think they were necessarily gonna be the team to kind of continue the hopes of APAC on the world stage. So I'm still gonna give this a 3-0 for BDS. Elevate, I think they're decent and they deserve to be here. Don't get me wrong, absolutely. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna be quite as good as the Elevate that we saw in the World Championship. Next up, G2 Pioneers. Pioneers just barely scraping their way through to this event. Clearly by a mile second in relation to first Power. Let me see here further down the Swiss. And I don't really have giant hopes for them. I think it's somewhat fair to say that they might just be just about better than that Chiefs team who finished third in OCE, I believe. But I don't really rate them, Pioneers. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're gonna struggle this event, but I would still put them just that little bit over Chiefs, at least for this split. We'll have to see how OCE progresses throughout the season, of course. Vitality, Complexity. Now this is a really interesting series. Complexity, team that originally was meant to play in an A, ended up playing in South America, back where they came from, I suppose. Other than the fact that CRR came from Europe to NA and now to SAM. So it's only Razebull that really went back to his own region. Now Dorito as well on Complexity, also coming from EU. So now it's a majority EU roster playing in South America, and now here at the major, finishing second below in South America. I mean, below Furia right here. We're playing as Luminosity. And I feel like this split really showed how good Sam is, at least, for this season so far. But do I think that they will be good enough to beat Vitality? No, not quite. I'm gonna say 3-1. I think Dorito has a really bad record at Worlds. Sorry, at Majors and Worlds. At LAN, also LAN is what I'm trying to say. Bad record, losing against APAC Elevate at the World Championship, and then, in my opinion, didn't have a great time in the Winter Major either. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 3-1 for Vitality in that one. Though I am excited to see Sam in this major. I think they could do pretty well and pull off a lot of upsets. But yeah, Gen G, Power have done so well in OCE. That being said, I don't really rate the other OCE teams that highly, especially considering how OCE performed at the World Championship. It was not impressive. It did not look good. But Power have always looked okay. They're the kind of team that could definitely go 3-2 in this kind of event, or 2-3. I think that's kind of where you would expect them to be, is that 2-3 round, I would say. Just about missing out on top 8, but they can do it. And against Gen G, I'll give them a game. I'll give them a game. Gentlemates, Rule 1. Next up, this is a really tough one for me. This is a really tough one. Rule 1. Rule 1. They've done okay this split. You know, they have gotten that one really close series against Falcons, but other than that, you know, it's been kind of scraping their way to seconds a lot of the time. They don't really look that comfortable being the second best team in MENA. And I kind of wish they were a little bit more comfortable. And to be fair to MENA, they have got 3 really good teams. People are kind of saying, you know, it's just Rule 1 or Falcons, but that's not really true. They've got other teams, but I'm mainly looking at Twisted Minds. They've maintained themselves quite well. You know, looking from last season, they were very good. You know, we saw them in the World Championship, and they performed pretty good, and they continue to do so. So in that sense, you know, Rule 1, they're not quite, you know, that much far ahead of third, but third is also really good. So, you know, it's tough to kind of predict how good Rule 1 is just based off of results. And then Gentlemates is a team that, to be honest, I didn't think would make it. After the first event, that's when I kind of started saying, alright, they're more likely than not, they'll make it. But before then, and then in 2 events after that, I wasn't really too impressed. So this is the kind of series that, you know, could go either way, in my opinion. You know, the EU 4th seed, I would say they're the worst EU team here. But I do think they're very happy to make it, so maybe they feel less pressured. But I don't know. I don't actually think that's true. I think they'll feel very pressured. As for Rule 1, I think they could pull off an upset here. It's a really tough one. I'm gonna go Games 5, nevertheless. It's just I haven't quite decided which way I'm gonna go yet. EU MENA. EU MENA. I'm gonna give the respect to MENA. I'm gonna give them a game 5 victory here in round 1. Falcons OG. Oh my. Now Falcons, they've played against Nolly a couple of times. I think Nolly has a positive record against Falcons, but you know, that's just one player. So, and more recently as well, Falcons got that win over Nolly in Gamers 8. Though I guess Gamers 8 not too relevant. It's a tough one for me because I think Falcons could definitely drop against a team like OG. Though I think you should definitely look at this event. I think Falcons are, generally speaking, a better team than OG. They should be the favorites. They definitely should be seen as the favorites for this match. But it is round 1, and I think upsets are possible. I am gonna give it 3-1 even for OG. I think I'm gonna go for an upset. Now there might be some bias in there, but you know, usually there are some upsets in these events, so I'm gonna kind of gamble on that, I suppose. All right, last match in round 1: Luminosity Furia. Luminosity are a decent NA team, but I am very impressed with Furia, so well, I'll gamble again. I'll say it's 3-0. It's not because I think it should be 3-0. I think Luminosity's closer than that, don't get me wrong, but just going for a random 3-0 there. Alright, well, round 2 then. Karmine, Rule 1. I don't think people will blame me. I'm gonna go for a Karmine win, though I'm gonna give Rule 1 a good game diff. I'm gonna say they make it close. Karmine slightly slip up. It'll be a little bit of a reality check, but Karmine are Karmine, and they don't often lose. So I'm still gonna have them on top. BDS OG. I'm gonna give this one to BDS. I'll give it a 3-1. G2 Gen G. This could be really fun. I think this could be a really fun series. I'm gonna say G2 wins that in game 5. Furia. Vitality. Furia Vitality. Honestly, this could go either way, but I am gonna give it to Furia this time. I'm gonna give it to Furia. I think Vitality might be a little bit shell-shocked from that series. Furia are gonna be really impressive, but they could also do really bad, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, okay. Limitless, Gentlemates. I'm gonna give this one another 3-0. Unfortunately, Falcons elevate. Another 3-0. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Power Pioneers. Okay, I'm gonna give that a 3-1 for power. Complexity, Luminosity. I'm gonna give that a 3-2 for complexity. Just about clinched that victory against the third NA seed. Anyways, now up to round 3. Two teams are gonna go 3-0 here. Which teams will it be? I'm gonna go with Furia. I'm gonna go the full way. 3-0. 3-0 against BDS. Sure, let's do that. And then Karmine, G2. I'm gonna go for another 3-0 there. Yeah, sure, why not? Very, very, very confident takes there. Yeah, so not even close here. So 6-0 all round, we'll say. But yeah, okay, Vitality Power. I'm gonna give this one to Vitality. 3-0 again. Genji Complexity. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna give it to Genji Game 5. OG Gentlemates. Could be another good one. Gentlemates have been decent. Juicy wasn't bad at Worlds. He was not bad. Don't think he was necessarily good, but he wasn't bad. But he has also been a lot better this season. Itachi, Seiko, they're not bad. They're pretty good. I really want to say that OG win here, but their opponents aren't bad. I'm gonna give it to OG Game 5. That's what I'm gonna do. A little bit of OG Hopium potentially, but I think OG have kind of really stepped it up after their first qualifier, and I feel like it kind of feels like they're the only NA team now that can compete with Gen G and G2 inside NA. So you know, I think they might just ramp up again for the major. So I'm gonna predict so. So 3-2 for OGs there. Rule 1 Falcons. Ooh, with the major, you can kind of see this going both ways. And I'm gonna give it to Falcons in Game 5, because, you know, with the major, mechanics can go down, and I do feel like the Falcons somewhat rely on mechanics. And they have gotten nervous before. You look at the World Championship, you know, that team has gotten nervous before. Last season went back when they were under Rule 1, so, you know, I'm gonna give it to them, but just barely over the Mina vets. Excluding Napo, though, of course, he's very new, but very good. Very, very good. Luminosity, I'm gonna give you a 3 over Limitless. Pioneers Elevate. This is a really fun series, and I think it could go either way, really. But I'm gonna favor OCE. I'm gonna say Game 5. I think there should. I really want to see an OCE APAC Game 5 series. So, gonna predict that. So there we go. Karmine, Furia through, Elevate Limitless out. Then for the 3-1 round, I'm gonna say Falcons win against BDS 3-1. G2 win against OG 3-1. And Vitality win against Gen G Game 5. So those are my teams going through. So top 8 from the 3-1 round. And who's gonna get eliminated in the 1-3 rounds? I guess it's all round 4, but I'm sure you get what I'm saying. I'm gonna say Gentamates wins this 3-0. Rule 1 Luminosity. Again, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Because they're both really good teams. I think NA could be a little bit shocked. I think they might get a little bit shocked in this event. I'm gonna give it to Rule 1. Complexity Power. No, Power they could do it. Power they could do it. against the complexity that did look good. And I'm gonna, you know, OCE, we don't really know what to expect from OCE. And Power have been dominant, more dominant than any OCE team has pretty much ever. You know, they're really up there with at least top 2, top 3 most dominant OCE teams of all time. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna say complexity goes out. It goes against the grain there. I'm not gonna lie. I do think complexity are favorites, but no, I'm willing to go. I'm willing to commit to OCE a little bit there. Anyways, round 5, Genji rule 1. I think Genji should have the better rule 1, so I'm gonna give that a 3-0. Because why not, I guess? Because in a lot of predictions I've noticed, or at least I think, that there's some sweeps that you just don't see coming, so I'm just trying to predict more sweeps than I did previously, essentially, is what I'm trying to do. BDS, Gentlemates. Yeah, there we go. I mean, I'm gonna have one of these teams not making top 8. And I'm gonna have to sacrifice Gentlemates. I'm gonna say 3-1. OG Power. I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So I'm gonna go with OG. What can I say? They're just too good. They're too good. But Power, they got really close. They got to that round 5, but couldn't make it into that top 8. Anyways, now top 8. We've got the final single elam bracket here. So these are all the matches you'd see on crowd day if, you know, my predictions are exactly perfect for some reason. But yeah, I'm gonna have Karmine winning against OG. Karmine, they're just too good for OG to handle, I think. So I'm just gonna give that to Karmine. Falcons G2. Ooh, that is a really exciting series. Do I dare? Do I dare? Do I dare not have NA in semis? Because I'm looking at the bracket and you know, I'm gonna already spoil you, but I'm gonna have Vitality winning against Genji here. I'm gonna say 4-2, so Karmine and Vitality in the bracket. G2 or Falcons? It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. Daniel's been really good. Atomic's been pretty good. Beast Mode's been pretty good. I am going to say I'm still deciding. I'm thinking really hard. It's really tough. Falcons G2, man. That is tough. I'm gonna say G2 win in Game 7. Alright, NA. I've given it to you, okay? You make semis. I'm giving it to you. And then Furia BDS. I am going to give this one to BDS. Game 7. And then I think BDS make the final. Karmine beat G2. And then Karmine win the grand final. 4-2. Yeah, 4-2. It's not going to be quite Game 7. I've hoped for a lot of Game 7s, and they haven't happened in the final. So I'm going to say 4-2 in the grand final. Karmine win the grand final. They win the major. It's really boring. It's really boring grand final. I get it. But yeah, those are my predictions. And yeah, there you have it. There you have it, guys. So I hope you all agree with my predictions, because obviously these are going to be the correct predictions. Let me know what you think in the not in the chat, in the comments, and I'll see you all later.